Hi, I'm Jason Gorber from ThatShelf.com, and we're here to talk about Mia Hansen-Løve's The Bergman Island here in competition at the Cannes 2021 Film Festival.
Big shelf.
So Mia Hansen-Løve is a very interesting director. She's made a bunch of films that are mildly autobiographical. One of her first films, if not her first film, Eden, I saw and I hated. It was ostensibly about her brother in the sort of DJ community. And it was one of those things that they're talking about Daft Punk, and Daft Punk would sort of walk by in the background and I'd be like, I want to watch that movie. Why am I watching this movie when I want to watch that movie? Nonetheless, she's sort of continued along this road and has made an English language film starring Vicky Krieps and Tim Roth as a couple that go sort of on a writer's retreat to Faro, which is an island off the coast of mainland Sweden, which is where Bergman called his home. It's a relationship movie. It's a movie within a movie. Mia Wasikowska also shows up sort of in the meta movie that takes place here. And it's really interesting how, on the one hand, it's sort of this sort of tangential celebration of all things Bergman, which don't have an overt amount to do with Hansen-Løve's own filmmaking, but nonetheless, it's a really interesting and engaging exploration of what happens when we have an artist and we sort of freeze them in place. Reminded me a little bit about the travelogue that we saw in Jane par Charlotte, where we see Serge Gainsbourg sort of his studio and his apartment sort of locked in place. The Bergman estate, as it were, where he lives, very much is keeping things as it were, but also is a place where new writers and new expressions can actually be made, and the film very much touches upon that. It's a story of marriage, a story of relationships, of challenges, of affairs, and all of this stuff. And yet, thanks to this sort of bouncing back and forth between the two narratives, it actually ends up being quite enjoyable. Dare I say, entertaining for a film like this. And it's quite an extraordinary film. I enjoyed it very much. We're sitting here trying to navigate as everybody's getting in for another film, but nonetheless, I'll go find this corner here. So I think for me that what works really strongly about it is obviously the incredible performances. Tim Roth is such a treasure. He's beautifully aloof, and he totally takes it on. I think Krebs does a decent job sort of as standing in for the author, as it were. And Mia Wasikowska has just sort of, not surprisingly to anybody, has emerged as a really tremendous talent. And the way that she sort of navigates both the sadness and the joy, the slight quirkiness that she's taking on of the meta character, I think is very enjoyable. Dare I say, one author that will not be compared to favorably, unfortunately, or whatever your point of view on contemporary matters, is Woody Allen. Frankly, if there's one artist who does this very much, films about filmmaking, films about characters, about scenes from marriages, and borrows from Bergman, there's an obvious allusion here, which obviously will be underplayed given the circumstances surrounding that particular director. Again, not delving into all the complications of that, but it was interesting to see this film that very much sort of borrows much more so from Woody Allen, frankly, than it does from Bergman itself, in a very interesting way. Nonetheless, I think the film is very strong. I think it's a very good contender, and for me, it shows that Hansen-Løve is committed to doing something. I know some people are complaining that the film is somehow lighter, but it just feels for me that she's more engaged with an audience than she has been in a long time, and I think this is definitely a film to seek out. So there we go, Bergman Island by Mia Hansen-Løve. Please check it out when you have a chance to see it. For ThatShelf.com, I'm Jason Gorber. Please follow us, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. All the best. Take care.